So, interesting game. You know, it's like kind of game nobody's happy at the end. We can thank mainly Rick Spielman and our special teams. Rick Spielman for Treadwell and Daniel Carlson. I mean, everybody knew Laquan had this in him. I mean, this is what I said before the season. Guy sucks. This is what I said after the first game. I mean, he sucks. I mean, he just sucks. He just sucks. Man, it's nothing personal. I don't wish any ill will on the guy personally. I just can't catch a football in a game. And I know, I apologize to the fanboys because I know you all, when he caught that touchdown pass, first round draft pick, first touchdown in 2+ years, we're all saying, Pro Bowl. Kwanzaa's going to the Pro Bowl. You can book it. Intelligent fans, like myself and some other people who probably watch this, said, oh no, because now they're going to throw to him a ton. And he is going to give that touchdown back and more. And he did. And of course, what do you do when a guy shows you that he obviously can't catch the ball and is in danger of just completely giving the game away? You just keep throwing to him. And my favorite moment probably was when he signaled first down on a play where he didn't get the first down. Guy who's really got his head in the game. Thank you, Rick Spielman. Let's just keep feeding him the ball. Eventually he'll figure it out, because past performance is not an indicator of future performance. And let's not forget the special teams. Of course, the blocked punt for a touchdown early on in the game. That's always good. Try to dig out of a hole like that. There was the beloved kicker for the Vikings, Danny Carlson, or whatever his name was, and I guess they cut him yesterday. At the fourth quarter, the Vikings scored, and they took their very strong-legged kicker, whose only value was kicking it through the end zone on kickoff, and had him do like a pooch kick. So rather than giving Green Bay the ball at the 25, they got it at the 31, 6 yards. And what happened? Well, Green Bay got probably 5 yards into field goal range on that drive. Brilliant special teams. The coaching, Mr. Zimmer in particular, he is not a championship coach. You can just see the way he calls plays at the end of halves, at the end of games. The Vikings have the ball, they're driving into Green Bay territory in the first half. There's like 2 minutes left. You have Kirk Cousins. You paid $28 million for him. You have 2 minutes left. Your first goal should be try to get a touchdown. Your second goal should be, at worst, get into very makeable field goal range. That is not a 48-yarder or whatever it was they tried. So what do they do on 3rd and 6? They do a pass that has no chance of getting a first down. Zap from American Gladiators comes in and helps make the play, and Carlson misses. And of course, at the end of overtime, we've had this kicker who's shown he can't make a kick. Okay, maybe if it's like inside 30 yards, he has a 50% chance at least. So we get down around the 20-yard line. We've got 2 timeouts left because Green Bay just didn't make us use our timeouts. And what do? Well, with 2 timeouts and 40 seconds left, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can try to get more yards because you have 2 timeouts. And Zimmer said, well, we're good. They'll make it. And the stupid announcer.
Now you're okay with your rookie kicker because of distance.
I mean, so many pro football color commentators are so dumb. That just gets so old, you know? It's like the guy has missed 2 field goals. Worse than I've ever seen a guy miss 2 straight field goals ever. And, well, he'll be good from 10 yards closer in. I'd like to talk about some positives. For once, I'm a little bit of a negative Nelly. Being a Vikings fan will do that to you. Kirk Cousins. Wow. Question about him was, is he just a guy who puts up numbers? Does he actually show up when it counts? Yeah, that was pretty awesome. He was perfect. Other than that interception that was called back because of the Matthews roughing the passer penalty, he was amazing. Diggs, awesome as always. Thielen, awesome as always. Rudolph was perfect. Rudolph is like my executive vice president of overratedness, and he's in danger of losing his job after that game because he actually like ran over a guy to get a first down. I mean, good for him. So they had so many great performances on offense, but you know, you got Diggs, you got Thielen. These are two Pro Bowl, potentially all pro caliber receivers. You got Rudolph playing the game of his life. You got Dalvin Cook, who's a solid running back and potential receiving threat. So you got all those guys. So what do? You just got to keep trying to get Treadwell the ball. That's the key, right? I don't know if it's Cousins who's partly to blame for continuing to throw it to Treadwell, but obviously that's what you do. You got two Pro Bowl receivers, tight end who's playing out of his mind. Keep throwing to Treadwell. You have no choice, right? My unsung hero of the week is Eric Kendricks, who made a just phenomenal play, breaking up what would have been the game-winning touchdown for the Packers late. Forget whose hands he knocked it out of. Don't remember, not going to look it up, but Kendricks doesn't get as much hype as other players. Even some of the other linebackers, like Anthony Barr is, I mean, he's terrible. He was terrible against the Packers, but he gets a lot more hype than Eric Kendricks. And Eric Kendricks, maybe he's not the best linebacker in the world. I mean, he's probably not. He's probably not even necessarily a Pro Bowl linebacker. But when I see Eric Kendricks, I always feel like I am getting everything he has to offer. He leaves it all on the field. He made the big play when we needed it. Without that play, we have no chance to win. Not only do we not tie, we lose. So thank you, Eric Kendricks. How did the Vikings defense do? Well, again, it's a mixed bag. I'm sure the fanboys will say the #1 defense in the league. They were perfect, as you know, because they can do no wrong. Let's see how they did. You know, last week, I pointed out how they tend to kind of go on vacation after a Vikings touchdown. The subsequent 49ers offensive possession averaged 9.3 plays for 65 yards. This week, let's see, Vikings had 4 touchdowns. The Vikings scored their first touchdown to make it 7-7. That was Treadwell. And the Green Bay then went 11 plays for 75 yards for a touchdown. Now, I give the Vikings defense a pass because when they saw Treadwell catch a touchdown, I think they probably all kind of had to be revived. Then the Vikings scored to make it 20-14. Green Bay goes 10 plays, 62 yards for a field goal. Again, 10 plays. They just can't get off the field. Then the Vikings score a touchdown to make it 23-21. Green Bay, 10 plays, 39 yards. Field goal. They didn't give up as many yards, but 10 plays. They can't get off the field. And then the Vikings score the touchdown and the 2-pointer to make it 29-29. Green Bay gets the ball back with 31 seconds left. And in 27 seconds, they get into field goal range. Every single Vikings score is followed by a poor defensive showing. Okay? Every other defensive possession, pretty much, they were solid, outstanding. But you have to include this in the rating of the defense. A #1 defense in the league doesn't do that. They are not the #1 defense in the league. I hate to break it to you, you fanboys. Jacksonville beat New England. Jacksonville's defense took Tom Brady to the end of the AFC Championship game last year with Blake Bortles as their quarterback. Okay, they are a better defense. I'm just saying a fact. Get over it. So, you know, that we had our kind of overratedness matchup of the week. What's it? The president of overratedness, Xavier Rhodes, against the CEO of overratedness, Clay Matthews. It was quite a matchup between two guys that are not as good as their reputations, you know? Clay Matthews kind of had his usual game where his hair seems to be more involved in the plays than anything else. It just always looks like he's in or near the play because his hair is always near the play. He had a couple plays where he kind of whiffed on sacks, like it's typical for him. He just kind of flies through the screen. He did make a play, I think, at the end of the first half. Really, the big play for him for the second week in a row was the roughing the passer call on the final drive for the Vikings. Was it a good call? It's no longer football if that's a penalty, kind of, you know? That's kind of how it is. You're not really playing football, or at least the quarterbacks are no longer playing football. It's kind of a joke, you know? Even by the current rules, I have trouble seeing how that's a penalty. But, you know, Kendricks got called for a similar play earlier. You know, it's evens out kind of in the end, and the Packers defense collapsed in that fourth quarter. So is it really all that penalty, or is it more the Packers defense couldn't do a darn thing? Matthews, very overrated, showing his overrated best. Xavier Rhodes, on the other hand, he wasn't just overrated. I thought he was awful, particularly in the first half, just beaten like a drum by Rodgers and Davante Adams. Pretty much, I mean, everything thrown his way in the first half was either caught or dropped. There was one huge catch that was called back. It was the famed back shoulder throw to Adams by Rodgers. And Rodgers is one of the few quarterbacks who's smart enough to know he could do this whenever he wants against Rhodes. And there was offensive pass interference called on Adams, and I don't know why. It was, I thought, a terrible call, and that negated a big play for the Packers offense. And if that penalty had not gone against Adams, they probably would have tried that a few more times. I don't know why they went away from that. The touchdown to Adams in the first half was just typical Rhodes. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's at the 8-yard line, and you're giving him almost an 8-yard cushion. What are you doing? You're an all-pro. Get closer to him. Put some pressure on him. So what does he just kind of stands in the end zone. Once Adams gets 2 yards in the end zone, then he puts a little shot on him. Great. Wonderful. Thanks for not showing up, Xavier. But the worst play, the play that I was screaming at the TV before that touchdown pass because I knew it was coming, but I was screaming so loud at the TV. Last play of regulation before the field goal attempt for the Packers. There's 7 seconds left. Packers have no timeouts. They are in field goal range already, but they want to get a little closer. You know, they're at about 55-yard range. They want to get closer to 50. They're not going to go for a touchdown. They're not going to throw downfield and risk the clock running out. The only thing they're going to do is throw a quick one to the sideline and quickly get out of bounds. And so at the top of the screen here, you see Mackenzie Alexander doing what you should be doing. You give him no chance to catch a short pass and get out of bounds. But at the bottom, Xavier Rhodes is just standing there like an idiot. And what do? Well, throw him 4 yards or 3 yards, whatever it was, gave Mason Crosby a little better kick. And he made the first one. Luckily, he missed the second one. He was phenomenal all day, though. I mean, I'd take him as our kicker any day. But it's just, the guy has no brain. That's what I'm saying. You want that guy on your team? You think he's an all-pro? You want a guy who doesn't think? Fine. You got him. Enjoy. Time for our awards. The Brian Robinson Award for the stupidest poorly timed sack celebration. That goes to Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin, who I think it was in the third quarter. The Vikings were down by 10, and they kind of had no momentum, and they got a sack, and I don't even think it was on third down, so it's like there's nothing to... a sack is not a touchdown. I hate to break it to you. A sack is not a touchdown. That's why in fantasy football, it's worth like 1 point, okay? It is not a touchdown. It is not as big a deal. You don't need to do a huge celebration when you're losing. Okay, if it's the fourth quarter and you're leading by 3 points and you sack them on third down, okay, yeah, I'm all for it. But that was just poorly timed. The Brian Robinson Award for jumping off sides on 4th and 1. This is the second straight week we're able to give this award. Really, he started a trend with his jumping offside on 4th and 1 last year. In this case, it was in the Jags-Pats game. The thing about this one is, someone from the Jaguars, don't know his name, not going to look it up, but he jumps off sides. And the Patriots don't react. They don't snap the ball or anything, so it ends up not being a penalty. Could have changed the game because the momentum was kind of shifting in New England's favor at that point. So, hey, congratulations to the guy whose name I haven't had the time or don't care to look up. My award for the dope not named Laquan Treadwell, who's going to cost you a game in the future, goes to Mackenzie Alexander, who is pretty much, he's completely unreliable in coverage. Mackenzie Alexander made a tackle. It was a first down play, and he stands up and does this. He's like, it's 4th down. He thinks it's 4th down when it is actually 2nd down. That kind of awful game awareness is certainly going to come back and bite us, I'm sure, at some point in the future. So, Mackenzie Alexander, we look forward to that time when your lack of awareness of the situation costs us a game. Thank you.
The play gets off. It's heading left. No good. The 5th-year senior, Rafael Gaglianone, a Groza watch list kicker. Can't connect from 42 yards out.